Dan. Very pleased to meet you.
Yes, I am Bertrand Barkendale, and you?
I'm Sigmund. Call me Sigmund.
Sigmund. Pleasure to meet you.
It's my pleasure that you came here, and also we were quite pleased to hear from you that you might have a potential interest in the property we're talking about. I guess you already have had a look at it and had some time to review. So what do you like about it?
Well, the property itself, we are at wholesale. We're a commercial, or not commercial, but residential development company. Develop luxury condos, and the property just fits perfectly for a luxury condo plan that we already have drawn up. But before we get into negotiations, if you don't mind, I'd like to just kind of get a little background about you and your company. What exactly is your position within Crestover?
I'm the senior officer in charge of investment and divestment in our company. I am also on the board.
So if we came to an agreement today, you would have authority to make the agreement?
Yes, sure.
Okay. And what exactly, what business is Crestover engaged in?
We are, in general, an investment company, so we don't really run the real estate business. So, but we do investments of different kinds, and also investing in real estate. But we do not often develop the property or build house. But we are more like trading with the land, actually.
And I see by the land records that you've held this land for 16 years now. Why is it now that your company is deciding that it would be a good time to sell?
Our company has an interest in developing closer to Washington, D.C. For many reasons, and that's why we thought it might be a good opportunity to get rid of this property and find a more appropriate place, if possible. So it's not really been any kind of a rush for us.
Okay.
So tell me a little bit more about you. What are you doing? What kind of business are you running?
Okay. I am the senior vice president at Wholesale. We are senior vice president in charge of acquisitions at Wholesale. We're a commercial or real estate residential development company, and so it's my job to go out and purchase the land that we are wanting to use to develop for our luxury condo projects. And just like you, any agreement we make today, I have authority to make the final segment of that firm agreement.
I see. I understand you have different properties in the area as well, or what's your main focus of what area are you in?
Our main focus is the Mid-Atlantic state, the Mid-Atlantic region that we're in right now, and that's why we're very interested in your properties, because it fits exactly within the region that we're developing. And for all purposes at this point, it appears to be a great location, very desirable for the type of development that we want to do.
Yeah, perfect.
Now, just to make sure that we're talking about the same property, we're talking about homestead property, correct? And
yes.
It's located on the intersection of two waterways, right along the bay and the rivers, correct?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. And so we're here because you're interested in selling. I'm interested in buying, obviously. Now, in this agreement, or that we're going to try and reach, what is it that your company wants out of this? What do you want for this property? Do you just want money, or are you looking for some type of to maintain some type of stake in the land? What is your company looking to get from this sale?
So for us, once we've come to the decision, it might be a good point to sell the property. Now, we would be really in favor of getting the money in order to find some other better locations. Actually, we are going to reinvest the money, but that's our main goal, that we want to develop our business in a different way. We bought this property some years ago, and but we just realized that we cannot develop the property so much more. The region is doing quite well in spite of the economical situation, like in the markets. So it might be an option for us also, like to just keep it. But I think if today we come to a good deal, we would have the opportunity to have the money in order to invest it in something different.
So ideally, it sounds like you're wanting money from this. What figure are you looking at to try and get for the land? What's the purchase price that you're looking at?
And maybe we're going to just talk about this later. So the only figure we have so far is there are some other companies in the region interested in buying the property. So we have been negotiating with them as well, and so we got an offer of them, even though negotiations are still ongoing, in proximity of 42 million. I don't have the exact number here. However, we realized that the other investor isn't really able to take full advantage maybe of the property, because as far as we know, you will have the possibility to add substantial value to the property once you build luxury condominiums on it. So we were adding this 25% margin. We were assuming we would be to that 52 million.
Okay, so 42 is the bid that you have now, but you're ideally looking for 52 million.
Yes.
Okay.
This would just include, like, we can talk about this, but what we assume would be your value out of it.
Okay.
So to say, because for us it's really if we don't sell the property now, there might be some rezoning going on. That's something our board has been talking on. So it still might be a little bit of still distant, but then we assume that the value of the property might even double. So that's like the far end our board is having in mind.
Now,
may I just ask you, have you been running any like expertise, or you're of course much more like politically involved in the region, and I'm sure you have like perfect contacts that are also able to make an assessment. So what is your idea?
Yeah, definitely. I'd be happy. If you don't mind, I'll have one quick question about the 52 million, and then I'll go into our assessment. The 52 million. Can you tell me, the objective points that you used to get to that 52 million mark? Did you mention it was 25% on top of something? I kind of got lost in there.
Oh yes. So it was just the assumption that we have like other offers of investors who don't have the same, who cannot really like take out the value of the property. So their offer would be in the end around 42, and then we added 25%.
So 25% on top of 42.
Yeah, I think it should be then coming to 51.5.
Yeah, that's okay.
So that's how we assessed like what should be the real value of the property.
Okay.
Not yet taking into account that maybe it might be rezoned to a commercial property at that point.
Okay.
But,
now, all right then. Thank you for that. Well, for us, the way we assessed it was we know the other developer that's likely to bid on this property, and based on what we assumed their likely bid would be, we've taken that bid and added markup to that bid. We figure the opening bid for the use that the possible developer would use it as would be in the range of 35 to 37 million. And we've taken 10% of that and added that on to bring our offer in at 38.5 million. Obviously, there's some gap in there between 38.5 and 52, so we're going to have to try and work this out a little bit while we're sitting here.
Sure. So may I ask what has been the basis for your add-up of 10%?
Okay. The basis of adding on 10% really is just, you know, it's more of a good faith thing because we feel that another offer would probably come in around 35 and 37. We want to have a good working relationship with you, so we're willing to pay a 10% premium on top of what we think somebody else's opening bid would come in at, because we value the land and we want the working relationship to maintain. Hopefully after this, because you said your company is involved in investing in different properties, and maybe after this there'd be another property in the future that we could again work out a deal for. And that's how we came in on that. But obviously it's not at your 52 million mark. So the question is, where would you like to go from here?
So we've been like talking about things just interesting in this property.
Mm-hmm.
Is my understanding right that you plan to build luxury condominiums?
We will build luxury condominiums on the property. Yes.
So my understanding will be that you can, by doing this, you can increase the value of just the property for that particular use by 25%. Is my evaluation correct in this point? Or?
Yes, that's about right. Yes.
Okay. So I think we should include this in the value of the property, because this will be actually what the use you can make, and we're very happy if there is some if you can make something nice of this property. We understand that you also have like another land located nearby.
Yes.
And we even consider that you may have some interesting, some synergies, like having the two locations that are actually facing each other. This one is like, it's actually the view of your other property. So we are just assuming that this should be represented somehow in the value, because I will have to report internally as well that why we choose you and prefer you just as opposed to the other interest, the other company interested, because as soon as we sell them, we cannot like tell them what to do with the property.
Yeah, there's no redo.
Yes, exactly. And our interest is really that we have the possibility to find some different land, and maybe we can talk a little bit about that. I mean, is there anything you could probably do? Do you own other properties closer to Washington, D.C. probably, or do you have any influence on helping us there? Because this is like where our business is going, and I understand that you may have some influence there, which is helpful for us, because for us it's just important that you're able to buy a nice property there to develop business. That's why we need the money actually.
Well, I'll address what you just voiced your concerns about in two parts. One is the possible political connections and support in the Washington, D.C. area. Full Sail is a wholly owned subsidiary of a conglomerate that my family owns, but Full Sail itself has a separate board of directors, and our family isn't directly involved completely. We don't have final say in the decisions of Full Sail, but we do have some say, so I cannot, as myself, guarantee any type of support from Full Sail, just because there is an independent board of directors and independent executive team. Also, but because if this deal works out it's good for both of us, if it's an advantageous deal, then of course we would look to have a working relationship in the future, and we would provide support that you needed as long as there's a mutual respect and support scheme between us. But also, you mentioned that you want 25%. You want that 25% reflected in the sale price. My thoughts on that are, to develop the type of property we have to develop, it's already a 5% increase in building costs. So that knocks down the 25% down to 20%.
I see.
And then also on top of that, we don't have the figure yet, but we will have to spend money to on engineering to complete drainage for the project, and that will also knock down the amount that we can increase the value of the property by because of our expenses below that 20% mark even further.
Okay. Could you like elaborate a little bit more on that? What is the drainage cost exactly?
Because it's well, correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is this has been a vacant lot sitting next to the land undeveloped. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And with this land, in order to do the development that we want, before we can begin construction and development, we have to go in and engineer the drainage. One, because of environmental concerns. Two, to be able to have a viable development there. If the drainage isn't engineered properly, erosion, other problems can occur because of excess seepage of water into the ground there. So we'll have to incur the costs for drainage, which haven't been calculated yet. But that's one way we get from that 25% mark you were talking about. Subtract the 5% because of the higher building cost to 20, and then the to be determined drainage cost, which we don't know yet, which will take us below 20 somewhere.
I see. I fully understand like that the 5% additional cost you may have should be reflected on just in order to find like a fair figure for both of us. About the drainage, I mean the market value or the offers we get from others, they must include the drainage because they're also intending to develop the property. So I don't really think that this cost will be like an additional cost, but it should be reflected in the price already. Because as we understand the market value, anybody who will like have to develop the country will have to make some investment to
Absolutely.
like. So therefore, I would more suggest that we certainly take your additional costs into consideration.
Okay.
But then about the drainage, I would say that is for anybody like using the property, this would be cost, and this will be included in the land price already. So like this, we would be more in a region of we were saying
Well, you said you had
20%
yes, and you said
surcharge.
you said the offering bid was 42, and honestly, for the type of development other than a luxury condo that would go there, we see the maximum offering bid from another competitor being 35 to 37. So that's one reason why we're getting a difference in adding on the 20% surcharge. So if we could figure out a way to work out the difference from your opening bid to what we think an opening bid would be for some other type of development other than condos, then we could probably work more towards finding that ending price with the possible 20% surcharge because of the value that we'll be adding with our development.
Yeah. I think that's a very good point you're making. So the other offer that we have, it's we are there still in negotiation, and now we have decided to take you into consideration. So I think we both have actually, if you can close this deal today, we both have a shared interest.
Absolutely.
Because for us, we will have to go back to negotiations with the other partner. We are quite confident that there will be the possibility to increase their offer. So the figures you heard, they were pretty correct, even though it was more at the top end, the current offer. And we were assuming that we will get, I'm talking openly now, like 12% more just from the other party interested.
12% on top of the 42?
No, that would be like the 42.
Oh, that's the 42 is the 12%
Yes.
more. Okay.
So, but if we can close today, maybe.
So
we share this interest. We say we both prefer closing today rather than you maybe having the uncertitude of what is going to happen with the property, us having to go back to negotiations with them, and then we take a middle, so that would be around the 40s, and add the 20%.
Well, what you just mentioned was that the 42 was 12% on top of, it was a 12% premium. And so if you're trying to get a 20% premium for us, why don't we add 8% onto the 42?
Now I need to
You can watch my math. So 42, 8% is 3.36 plus 42 comes out to $45.36 million. And this is cash in hand that we have in reserves ready to close the deal today. And we have a development plan already approved, ready to break ground.
Okay. I just didn't quite follow. So
Okay, so you told me that 42 was a 12% premium already. You're trying to get a 20% premium from us because of the value our development will add to the land, or the value our development will add to the land. So if you take 42 million, 8% of that is 3.36, then add that back in to get your 20%, and that's 12% plus 8%, so 45.36 million.
So 45 million. So my calculation was just, I'm not so sure about the figures, so that's why you will allow me. So I was
Of course.
calculating like we said a 40. Is that a good figure in the middle? Like being a market value just for a standard use, but not
40 is fine, yes.
Okay, so we were adding to this just the 20%, and would they end up in 48? So
Okay, but you told me that the 42 is already a 12% increase. So what's 42? Give me 1 second, please.
we have like all these complex calculations of our financial department on here, so I just.
I'm just doing some. Okay, yes. So for the 12% increase, you started out with a $37.5 million base. 12% increase, and that was the base that you used to get your 42. And so I think it would only be fair that that's what we use as the base for our 20% premium as well.
Yes, I'm coming to a figure of approximately 40, slightly below.
Well, if you look.
So if you have like having an offer there around like 37, which we assume would be the value of the property, just without any luxury condo.
Okay.
And then we are confident that we can raise this by 12. So if we agree, it's unsure for you, it's unsure for us. So if we make this 12% like 6 and find in the middle, I think we have like we share the incertitude about this. Would that be a fair deal for you? So we would have like the 37 that we already actually got offered.
Yes, 37. Yes.
Okay, increase it by 6, which is just the half-half situation.
I'm sorry. What do you mean increase by 6% or 6 million?
6%.
Okay.
That's actually just half of what we expect we could still increase. So that's our assessment because the other company interested showed enough interest that we see. We are quite confident that we can get a 12% add-on.
Yes.
But we're unsure. I'm quite like you are. So why don't we add 6 and then we add the 20? Would that be
Well,
fine?
I guess I'm afraid that I've been maybe not clear with trying to get my point across. Was that if you're taking your base at 37 and then adding 6 and trying to add 20 on for us,
Yes.
that's 26% increase in the price of the land. Whereas we've already discussed how the 5% building cost increase already cut like our 25% margin, increasing the land by down to 20%.
Yes, that's why we add like 20% and not 25.
So, but then you're asking for a 26% premium instead of a 20% premium because you're already adding the 6 in to begin with. It would be fair to add the 20% premium from the beginning price rather than after you already added in the 6%.
Okay. I have a different understanding because the offer we would likely get would be like the 37 we already have.
Yes.
Plus a 12%. So that would amount to 1.2, right? That would amount to 41.4.
37 times. Yeah, it's 41.4.
Yeah.
44. But the thing is.
And that would be what we consider if the land is worth to anybody who has not the chance like you to develop the property, right?
But our ability to develop and add value to the land it's not on top of what you think somebody else will bid. Our ability to add value to the land with development is from the base figure. So it would be 20% on top of 37, not 27%, not 20% on top of the 6%. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes. I was just having an understanding. Maybe I'm mistaken here, but the 25% is really like the add-on on the value of the land.
On top of that base, the 37, the base. What a base bid would be. Yeah. Our value that we could add on would be that 25%, but then you back out the increased building cost because that really takes it down by 5%.
I'm really not trying to be like too much into details here, but I think you can just add 25% to whatever is the value of the property, right? So that I think that was my understanding of the facts. And so if we assume that whatever we can get from a competitor would be like the price of a property, are you following me on this?
Yes, but what you think you're going to get at the 42, which is a 12% premium, and what we think a base bid of 37 would be is different.
Okay. I thought we were agreeing on taking as a realistic land value the 37 plus 6%, which is just in the middle.
Okay.
Because I think I agree. Like the 12% may be difficult to get. For sure, we will get more than 37. So, if we just have these,
so that
we assume that like
6% would come out to.
Yeah.
We can round that to 40.
Yes.
Okay. So 40 as a base price, but when we take a base price of 40, that's already assuming some of the premium that we could add in that 25. So that's why we can't add another 25% when we've already gone up 6%. Do you understand that?
Not quite, because I think that's what we determine to be like just the value of the property, right?
No, the base bid is 37. Like that's the base bid. You think because of
but the
value
increase of 6%. So the other company interested, they cannot take any advantage. They don't have luxury condominiums, so there is no like add-on included in that price. That's just the price for the pure property. So that's, I think, why we are closer to the 39.2.
But the thing is, when they're making their bid at that higher mark over the 37, they're also including what they think they can add the value to the property. You understand? So we might be able to increase the value by 20 or 25%. They're making a bid that takes into account from 37 the percentage that they can take,
Yeah.
that they can improve the property.
I see. Actually, it's different. So the other competitor that is interested is Revelkey developers, and they can only build like standard apartments.
Yes.
So they are not in the luxury condo market. So that's why they can't take any advantage out of like the luxury surplus, so to say. So if you're following me on that one, I think they do not have the chance to get any surcharge because, and that's actually the point why we both have a common interest because your company is able to make much more value out of this area, and I think because the area is developing, even like luxury condominiums will be very sought after. So I think that should be like the advantage we have, like this.
Well, there is the mutual interest, like you said, and also our ability to add value to the land that apartments couldn't. But again, to stress that our ability to add value is automatically decreased by 5% because of the increased building costs. But
Yeah.
also, in the interest of fairness, it would not make sense to contribute another 20% to the purchase price to you because of the efforts that it will take on our part to increase the value of the property. Your selling to us has no effort in increasing the value of the property. It is our building efforts, our development, that's going to increase the value of the property. So for you to take that 20% from us, just really, it doesn't make complete fiscal sense from our company's point of view.
Yes, that's my understanding. What is included in like the 5% that's your efforts that you have. But like going back to the figures, what shall we do now? So you wouldn't agree on adding the 20% that we said
On top of the 40, that's still just a little too high, but we're definitely getting closer to agreement right there.
So if we round 40 down to the 39 we had, I think we could find our way there.
And even, I mean, so if you're rounding down to 39, 20% of that is, oops, I apologize, is 7.8 plus 39. That comes out to 46.8 million. And that is really, I mean, we've had an independent assessment done of this property, and 46.8 million is still just over our budget that we're willing to spend on this property. I'm willing to pay more than the 40 million, but unfortunately 46.8 million is still too high for as an option on this property that we have.
So could you explain why this is? Because it's clearly our understanding that you will be taking much more advantage out of this. We are now like talking about the current market situation, but as we all know, this region is developing quickly. So I think we should take that into consideration as well. If we just kept the property, for sure the land price would go up because we all know that the region is prospering. Then there is still a chance that it might be a commercial rezone to a commercial zone.
That's correct.
So if we just take this into consideration, we're evaluating an expectation of the value like doubling up to 9,200 million. So that's why we should have some interest as well, just in selling the property now, and you will have the possibility to really develop this property. So for this, I think we should keep this in mind because otherwise, for us it would be maybe more advantageous to keep the property and just develop it.
And we are aware of the rumors that it might be rezoned as commercial property. We're not in the business of commercial development. We only do residential development. So been speculated in the past that it would be rezoned, and that just never got through. And the offer that we would end up being willing to make today is cash that you would have in hand to go make that new investment that you want to make closer to Washington, D.C. A lot of money that you would have towards that. Whereas if you wait, it would be for an indefinite period, and there's no guarantee that it would be rezoned as well. And we think it's too speculative to include any commercial valuation in this purchase price because of those reasons. Now
But you still have the opportunity. You have an additional option. So you may even, given your political influence of your of your famous family in the area, you may have the chance to influence that. So you may really take it as an option to wait for until this area gets commercial zone, even instead of building luxury condominiums, and then you get the double out of it. So it is a room at the moment only at the room level, but still this should be taken into consideration. And if you decide not to wait for this opportunity, you can still build luxury condominiums and take out the 25% add-on just for granted in a developing. So that's why it's more our position that there should really be an interest to close the deal today, because you will have all the options.
Now, I can be completely forthright here and say that the company has absolutely zero interest in using it for commercial purposes. It will be developed residentially if an agreement is reached. So we will not wait to see if it does get rezoned. But let's try and move back to negotiating the numbers a little bit more. We came